let's talk about M.I.A. Now, some of you know who M.I.A. is. She had that, what was that song, Paper Planes or whatever? That was popular a few years ago. I get high like paper, get high like pay, whatever that is. That they sampled on Swagger Like Us. I mean, she made some really disrespectful comments recently. Basically, she would say, I'm just going to summarize what she said. And you can read the full context later, but this is basically the full context. She was upset about the lack of coverage on Syria and some of the Muslims being slaughtered, which is cool. I have no problem with that. No problem at all with that. The problem is she talked in the U.S. how they was giving Black Lives Matter too much coverage and not talking about Syria enough. And she called on Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar to speak on the situation in Syria, which is really disrespectful. I think she called them two out specifically because, you know, Beyonce had the video on top of the police car when she was talking about, you know, the injustices, and she did in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And, you know, Kendrick Lamar, even though to me, I don't even think he specifically spoke out against anything, like even police brutality. I don't think he specifically spoke out about it, but I guess because how to Pimp a Butterfly had kind of like a black theme to it, even though he wasn't really speaking on specific political issues. I guess that's why she called him out for that as well, which is even more disrespectful because he didn't even speak on a specific issue. So I took it as this. She telling us not to talk about black issues or to talk about issues involving Syria and Middle Eastern issues more than we talk about our own issues that we have as black people, which is super disrespectful because we're not going to the Middle East and telling them to talk about our plight as African Americans as much as they talking about, you know, the situation in Palestine. I wouldn't do that because that's disrespectful. They got their own struggle. We got our own struggle. It doesn't mean we can't come together and work together on certain issues of discrimination, but don't tell us to talk more about your issues if we, in the U.S. is talking too much about black issues, which they really not at all. Like, it's only black outlets that really give true time to black issues. The mainstream media only really do it when it's a controversy. So, like, it's super disrespectful, and I'm glad that she's no longer headlining this Afropunk concert in London. Like, I'm not into punk music at all. Punk music is terrible to me. Like, you never going to hear a punk song on Always for Black. Just a sidebar. Have you ever listened to punk music, Miss Baaba?
I'm not gonna front. I listen to a bit of everything. Her M.I.A. specifically, I don't understand her music, so I don't like it. Just doesn't resonate with me. So I'm not like a supporter of her work in any way. But I'm not.
Punk music,
I wouldn't consider myself a supporter.
Punk music is freaking terrible, man. Like, it's like that yelling and like the mosh pit stuff. Like, I'm not sure exactly if Afropunk is the same type of genre, but like if it's just punk music, I have no interest. You're never going to hear that on Always for Black Radio, just to let y'all know. But that's beyond the point. I guess this festival is to highlight black artists in that field and punk, to my understanding. And she was headlining it even after these comments, which a lot of the Afropunk artists that was there took offense to, as they should have. They should have. So the organizers tried to defend her and everything, but eventually, I guess she tweeted out that she's no longer going headline it, and basically how she's not going to stop talking about the 65 million Muslims that being displaced and refugees. And like my thing with her is nobody told you to stop talking about it. Nobody black said don't talk about that. We said don't shit on our issues to highlight your issue. And I guess my real problem is it's like what you said earlier. It's like they say, fuck what we going through. Like, okay, it's a black issue. Like, why are they getting so much attention? They just went through slavery. That was a long time ago. Get over it. Our issue is more important. Because you talked about how all these other groups got reparations, but we didn't. That's the same mentality right there. And M.I.A. have this same racist mentality. She doesn't even realize it's racist. And that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate right there, that she doesn't realize how racist and how disrespectful her comments really were.
Exactly. And it's crazy. Okay, so the Afropunk Festival, right? It started in New York City in 2005, and now they have their version in London, or it's being held in London. And yeah, after making those statements, and she got a little bit of pushback, and I guess there were some people maybe on Twitter who told her to stay in her lane. She said she's boycotting the Afropunk Festival in London, what have you. Who cares? It doesn't affect me at all in any way. I just think that, yeah, as Brother Sool said, it is very disrespectful to say, well, I'm calling on these two black individuals, black celebrities, to stop talking about themselves and their people and come together and talk about the Muslim plight. Like, and not to put down the Muslim plight, because that's horrible. It's really, really horrible. And I think that it should be talked about. But if she's a Muslim and she wants to go ahead and talk about it and try to get people to get other celebrities to discuss these matters, there's a certain way that she can go about doing so. I wouldn't have been mad if she would have asked Beyonce and Kendrick to help in her getting the message across. That wouldn't have offended me. But because of the fact that she said that it was too much emphasis put on conversation surrounding the black plight in the U.S., that's what my issue is. You know, like,
exactly.
We're not important enough. It's like, it's kind of as if like she's saying exactly that. Like, we're just not important enough. But it's crazy because I just feel like you don't have to dim a light for yours to shine brighter. You know, we can, if your issues are that important to you, then you do whatever it takes to make sure that your voice is being heard. And if you're looking for allies in this I guess protest or struggle or whatever stance that you're trying to do, that's completely different from trying to disparage a whole other group of people. Because if you're trying to disparage us, why would you think that we would want to work with you? At the end of the day, like, instead of coming with the olive branch, she's just declaring war for herself. Like, that's, it doesn't make any sense. And I think the underlying statements and her underlying like feelings and sentiments towards how passionate she is about the violence against Muslims, all that was lost. Because now all that's remembered from her statement was that her plight is more important than ours. So she messed up there. But I mean, for me, I don't really expect too much from her. I mean, after all, Azalea Banks supports her, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah, Azalea Banks is back to cooning again. She wrote this long-ass essay defending M.I.A. and try to say that she's black. Like, shut up, Azalea Banks. Just get out here. She's a definition of attention whore. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all she does is go for attention. She could say, she'll say anything for attention. Man, like, but I don't even want to mention her. She's something else. But yeah, like you were saying, it's just basically like our issues is not important. And our show, not just our show, our whole business is called Always for Black. But you never hear us downplaying other groups' plight. You know, you don't hear us saying that, you know, why is Cornel West talking about the plight of Palestinians? And he's a black man, but he talks about the plight of the Palestinian people all the time. You ain't never say, oh, why is Cornel West talking about that? No. Highlight all misjustice. Again, we have no problem with that. We just say that too often, like what black people go through, is downplayed, and this is a perfect example of it right now. And also she act like there's not black Muslims. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of black Muslims.
Right.
There's a ton of black Muslims. So her whole statement is just ridiculous. I mean, is she gonna talk about the black Muslims and dark skinned people that being mistreated around the world? Is she gonna speak on that? I mean, I'm not asking her to do that because it's not really her job. But man, there's a lot of misjustices going on. Don't downplay others to boost up your plight, like you said. And they do that all the time with black people. They stay doing that with us. I hear this all the time. Well, what the Native Americans went through was worse. Like really, we gonna have a pissing contest to which group got done the worst? And there's definitely an argument that we had it worse than anybody else because our whole culture was taken, language, everything. But regardless, we had it extremely difficult path to go through in this country, and not just in this country, worldwide. Colonialization all over the globe. There's discrimination against black people all over the globe. So it's just completely disrespectful, and I guess that's all I could say. I'm not even going to go on too much more on her statements. The reason why I wanted to cover this is not because M.I.A. said it, because I don't care about M.I.A. at all. Her music is trash to me, by the way. She only had that one song, that Paper Planes, that I didn't really like that, but it was okay. I tried listening to some of her other songs. That shit was trash. It was pretty bad. I don't like her music anyway, but maybe just not my genre. So I didn't bring this up because of M.I.A. I brought that up because there's a lot of people that think like her throughout the world, no matter what ethnic group they're from. A lot of people have this attitude about black people. Why is black people getting any attention at all for their plight? Those Negroes just need to shut up and just take it. But what about what happened to us?
Right.
A lot of groups have that mentality right now. So it's just unfortunate. You even see a lot of white people with that attitude right now.
Right, and I just wanted to say that a white supremacist mentality has nothing to do with your race. It has nothing to do with your religion. It has nothing to do with anything. A lot of people there's black people that hold the white supremacist mentality, so it has nothing to do with that. But it's important to know why they feel these ways. It's okay to talk about other things and other groups and the horrible things that they've gone through, but when we discuss our situations and our plight, it's kind of looked at as if we're whining about it. Why are you guys still whining? That is just noise to them. But they don't understand. There's a lot of people that still neglect to understand, and I'm sometimes flabbergasted. How does anyone not see this? How do you not see that this is a real issue? And some people will argue, well, the laws are, in place, but you can see it. Just like we were talking earlier in the show, how the criminal justice system is not designed to help us in any way. If anything, it's been very detrimental to us. So this is not even talking about slavery. These are all the effects of slavery. It stems from there, even a little bit before then, and then now it's still very prevalent in our day-to-day lives, and a lot of people just don't take the time to try to understand. So for them, it's just we're just talking just to talk, or we just need to stop complaining and get out and do stuff. And don't get it wrong, just because, and I said this on the show previously before too, just because we have been victimized does not make us victims. I refuse to be a victim of anything. And me, myself, I know Brother Sool, there's several of us out here. We're still out here doing everything that we can do and everything that we need to do in life. So we're not making any excuses. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of growth that we still need to take. And I think the first thing is just acceptance that it was, what we've gone through and what we continue to go through is wrong.
Right,
A
right.
lot of people don't
And
even accept that as a fact. It's an opinion because they feel like it's our opinion of the world, and it's a distorted opinion. But no, it's actually fact. I don't see how
right.
anyone can argue that.
And you know the funny
They argue
thing,
off of emotions.
yeah, I'm gonna get to that in 1 second. But the funny thing is, we covered Syria last week before the story even came out, right? Like I was talking about Syria, and that wasn't the first time. I've been talking about Syria for months on end. Even last year, we did a show about Syria and how we shouldn't have, how the U.S. shouldn't do action in Syria and how it's gonna be a mess and all that. So it's not like we haven't even been talking about it, which is funny. That's one thing.
Exactly.
The other thing is this. It's like, okay, it's a difference between complaining. I don't like complaining either. But it's like if
Right.
you running like a 2-mile race or something, or a mile race, and somebody trips you at one point and you fall and you say, hey, that's unfair. That person tripped me and now people is past me and they ahead of me. Stop complaining. You had the same opportunities. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? You just fucking tripped me up. And, like, they're just saying that we can't even call a spade a spade. That's basically what they're saying. Like, don't point out what happened. Oh, the Irish overcame it. Well, the Irish eventually was considered white. That's how they overcame it. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, they just pulled them in and they said, okay, Irish people, you are now considered white. Before, you was considered like dogs, but now you considered white. Italian people, yeah, you classified as white now. You know, and now that's the thing too. Like even a lot of immigrants, they point to the success. A lot of these immigrants that come over here classify themselves as white as well. Like a lot, I guess so-called Arabic people, some of them classify themselves as white when they come over here too. So that happens a lot too. And when you classify yourself as white, you get more benefits, of course. You know, like we said, you get called back for jobs more often if you classify yourself as white. Bank loans, if you classify yourself as white. Oftentimes banks will lend to you at a higher rate if you white as compared to if you classified as black. Like there's a lot of these little institutionalized things that's going on that don't get the attention that it really deserves. I'll leave it at that. You have any closing comments, Ms. Baaba?
I'm gonna tell M.I.A. to continue doing what she's doing. If she wants to go ahead and speak on Syria, that's awesome and amazing, and we stand with you. But don't ever try to come at us as if we're not important to do so. You know, that's not gonna rock. That's not gonna happen. And because of that, I should be, you know, if it was anyone else, they'd be like, well, I'm not going to support her message, but I'm not going to lose her message in this, because what she was saying, you know, what her plate is very important, and I'm not going to try to disparage that at all. But
not at all.
Same time, at the same time, she just has to understand that the way that she's trying to go about it is incorrect. So I'm not even mad that everyone has come out and said certain things against her, because of the fact that there's certain things that you just can't let rock, and that's one of them. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna leave it right there.
Exactly. That's basically it. That's a great way to leave it. And remember, go to alwaysforblack.com, and the all is with 2 L's, and the 4 is FOR. Remember, 2 L's all. All right. Make sure you check out Always for Black Radio. Go to our Facebook page, and thanks for the support. Peace.
Peace, people.